You are listening to Conversations with Misfits, Mavericks, and Trailblazers.
Hey, welcome to the Headsmack Podcast. My name is Povolni, and I am excited to have another Misfit with me. I have Jonathan Montoya, and he has taken 3 different businesses to 7 figures. He has served over 66,000 students when it comes to digital marketing and AI. Jonathan, how you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing so good. How about you, Paul?
I am doing great. I have been looking forward to this conversation since we connected several months ago, and then we got to meet in person at an event. And I thought, man, I want to have Jonathan on the podcast. I want to talk to him. He's doing amazing things. He's an amazing guy, so I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. It was fun that we got to hang out in what was it, Arkansas? That was such a fun time, man. So excited we're doing this, ready to rock.
Yeah, well, and I'm eager to learn about everything that you've been doing. You've been doing some amazing stuff, especially in the area of AI. And so I want to hear a little bit about your origin story, just to kind of bring folks up to speed of where you kind of started at, and you can go as far back as you want to go. But tell me a little bit about your origin story.
Yeah. I mean, I'll start like kind of in the high school days, because that's kind of where I started. I thought I knew what I wanted to do. At that time, everyone was telling me, "Hey, Jonathan, you have to, graduate high school, go to college, get your degree, live your life." I'm like, okay, that's what I got to do. So after that, I went to college. I went to UNM in New Mexico, and basically got my degree in electrical engineering. Got married that same year that I graduated. Awesome year. And then I got a job in that field. I started working. I was, I thought I was happy. I had gotten a good job. The money was pretty good at the time. And, I just started after every single day. I was just like, okay, this is starting to feel the same. This is the same thing every day. Right. So, and then I just I never loved the corporate structure, man. It was just like, I've always been kind of a misfit or a rebel, right? So like, just people telling me what to do. Just I hate it, man. Like, so just as the days went by, I was just like, okay, I need to figure out maybe some sort of side hustle. I need eventually maybe I can possibly leave this job. I never thought I could leave a job because like I had spent hundreds of thousands, on this degree, and this is like the hardest thing I've ever done, still till this day, by the way. So anyways, I started getting into all kinds of side hustles. At the time, I was getting into things like crypto and Forex trading. I remember I was buying courses on stock trading and stuff like that. So I did that for a few years, made some money, lost some money. Mostly lost money, which was a lot. but yeah, so that went on for a while. I was like, okay, this is not going to work. This is like, okay, cool. You can make money, but like at the end of the day, it's like, it still wasn't like what I wanted to do. Right. So eventually I kept trying to figure things out. I got into like e-commerce. I got into Amazon FBA. So that kind of world. Again, bought some courses, spent thousands on courses. All the extra money I was making with my engineering job, I was literally just pouring into courses, mentors. Got into that whole e-commerce thing. Built a pretty decent clothing brand. It was one of those things where like you had a Shopify store. You would buy the clothes from Alibaba, and then they would automatically ship it. It was a cool business model.
Nice.
Never made a crazy amount of money, just enough to enough so like we weren't losing money, but it was like we weren't making enough to quit the job, right? So
but it was also kind of your first foray into a new world, right?
What was that?
It was your first foray into a new world of e-com and selling stuff online, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was this was all new to me, right? I knew nothing about nothing besides school, But yeah, so moving after that, I was like, I don't want to do this either, man. Like, I want to do something else. At this time, I was still working my job. I got into like the whole like digital marketing world. So that's when I found like Russell Brunson, and I found some other like big YouTube mentors. I bought their program, and then I was like, this is cool. The reason why I liked that, man, was because all the other things was just trying to make extra money, right? And when I found this, I remember Russell talking about you have a calling and you can actually serve people at a higher level. And that hit me so hard, man. I was like,
Wow. Yeah.
oh my gosh. I'm like, all this other thing, yeah, you can make money with trading and whatever. There's all kinds of weird ways to make money, right?
Right.
But I was like, that hit me so hard. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. So what do I need to do? So I started reading, a lot of his books. One of the best books I've ever read was Expert Secrets. He talks about building a loyal following, a brand, if you will. Building like a calling that's so deep that people just follow you, right? So I was like, okay, that's what I need to do. I was terrified to get on camera. I was terrified to even like take a photo of myself. Like, dude, I never wanted to like talk on camera, make a YouTube video, anything like that, be on a podcast, right?
Yeah.
But I realized I was like, well, this is what I need to do. So what I started doing is I just started putting myself out there. I still have my first content on YouTube, which was like 6 years ago. And it was horrible, right? But I was like, dude, I was doing a YouTube video every single day. I would get up at 3:30 a.m. because I was so hungry to get out of this job. Every single day, 3:30 a.m. would make a video every day. Eventually, I'll give you kind of the timeline here. So I started this in like May of 2019. Actually, during that time, my bank account was negative 1,200.
Wow.
And that's when I actually made the jump to go into this whole personal brand thing, right? So,
Yeah.
anyways, 9 months later, or March of 2020, 2 weeks before the pandemic, I finally was making enough money after doing a video every single day and just being consistent, doing all the boring work. I was able to quit my job as an engineer. It was crazy because it was 2 weeks before the pandemic. And
wow.
yeah, man,
Wow.
ever since then, I've been just 1,000 miles an hour, just building and building. And I haven't lost that vision of building a brand, of building that loyal following, that vision, right? So yeah, it's a little bit about my backstory.
Wow. So how did your wife and family feel about you venturing into this online world after spending all that time in, having a secure job and spending all that time in investment in college?
Yeah. So my wife was amazing. She was like super supportive of everything. It was more me, the way I felt about myself during that time. Cause like, if you think about it, I was like losing all this money, like trying all these different side hustles. So in my mind, I was just like, man, I just keep failing and failing and failing. And it was just more on myself. But my wife was so supportive the whole time. She was like, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did, and she believed in me, and more than myself, I think. And yeah, man. And my family, they're a little like, they didn't really understand when I quit. They're like, why are you quitting your engineering job? Like, you spent years trying to get this thing.
Yeah.
They weren't like crazy opposed to it, but I'm sure they were worried in the back of their minds.
Right.
Right now, probably not anymore. But yeah, but it was no one ever like said, hey, we need to really talk. Like, everyone was pretty supportive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of people sometimes face either that internal resistance or that external resistance to trying something new, especially trying something adventurous and something that's kind of out there. And so it's kind of interesting hearing those stories of,
Yeah.
what was the resistance that you felt, and did you feel any resistance from anywhere at all?
Yeah, I mean, I felt resistance every day, man. I mean, who wants to get up at 3:30 a.m. after, working, I used to work 50 hours a week or more than that sometimes. And then having to get up early to make this YouTube video where the first 60 videos, you're getting 5, 20, 30 views, right? So yeah, that's a ton of resistance, man. But
Yeah.
I think the vision was just a lot stronger than the day to day. I was just like, okay, I know. I remember reading the book Compound Effect, which is, I think it's Darren Hardy, but one of my favorite books of all time. He was like, basically the principle is like, hey, do this one little thing every single day, 1% better, 1%. Just keep stacking these little wins, right? For me, it was like making a video every day, no matter how hard it was. And one day you're going to see how that compounds. And for me, the big one was 9 months because I was able to quit my job, make enough money. But I'm telling you, the first like 60 to 90 days, it was like dead, man. Like nothing was going on. I'm like, man, why am I doing this? Right. So yeah, I
Yeah,
faced
yeah,
resistance every day. Yeah. So
yeah,
it
yeah.
was wild.
So what were those first videos about? You said you were consistently making them daily, getting up
Yeah.
super early to make them. What were they about?
Yeah. That's great. So at the time I had finally like got into like affiliate marketing, which was, for those who don't know, it's like essentially promoting other people's products. So I was doing affiliate marketing and I was actually making some money with it. So naturally, I was just teaching. But one of my hacks actually, um, and I actually still do this till today. This is one of my best hacks I've ever figured out. But obviously I was trying to learn affiliate marketing. I was like trying to learn marketing and trying to learn, all the things you have to know with that
Right,
whole
right,
thing, right? Funnels and websites and SEO, everything, right? There's so much to learn. So I didn't know any of this, right? So naturally what I would do is I would learn and then I would make a video that next day. So I was literally learning while I was teaching. Um, and that helped me learn and like really understand for myself, right? Because when you have to teach something, you really have to like understand what's going
right,
on, right?
right, right.
So yeah, dude, it was all about like affiliate marketing, funnels, AI, or not AI, you know, uh, how to get traffic, how to post on Instagram, Facebook, all the things that kind of revolve around the digital marketing world. Again, I knew zero about anything, right? So for me, it was just teaching what I was learning in real time. And that's kind of what I'm doing now, actually, because I'm trying to learn this kind of new skill with AI. So,
Right, right.
I'm learning, then I'm teaching next day or next
Yeah,
week. So,
yeah.
but yeah,
I think that's amazing, and I think somebody needs to pay attention to that because we sometimes get resistance in ourselves when we think that, man, I can't really teach until I have it all figured out, and I'm no longer making any kind of mistakes. I've got it. I'm an expert now. I'm a guru now. I'm really good at it. And what you are doing is, as you were learning, you were also sharing what you learned. And that made a big difference for not only you and the learning sticking, but also in gaining an audience, right?
yeah, that's the biggest thing. I mean, I knew like at the time I think I was monetizing with like some affiliate courses I was promoting in some software. I think it was ClickFunnels at the time. I was trying to win the Dream Car Award. But the most important thing was the personal brand. Was like if I can build this loyal following, doesn't you know it doesn't really matter what I do in the future. Like I'll still have this very strong personal brand, right? And that's still one of the main things I focus on today is like continuing to grow the personal brand, grow the trust that I have with my audience.
Yeah, yeah. So at what point, what was the tipping point where it actually started working? You mentioned after about 9 months or so, you were able to quit your job. What was the tipping point that finally put you in that place where you were like, oh man, this is
Yeah.
working. I think I can make this work. Um, and what was the measurement for knowing when that time was?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was like, I needed a certain amount of money that I had to make consistently to be able to quit my job. Um, at the time, I think it was like 6,000 a month that I needed to make. But I was like, I just want to, kind of like double that, and like, so 10K was kind of my number. It's like, okay, if I can consistently make 10K a month with this thing that I'm doing while I'm still working my 9 to 5 job, I know I can make it work full time. So about 6 months in was when everything started to kind of compound. Started building an email list, started building a small YouTube channel. I think at the time, maybe I had 1,000 subscribers, which again is not huge, but they were pretty like loyal people, and they were buying the
Yeah,
things I
yeah,
was
yeah.
promoting. So I was making money. I was building an email list. About 6 months in, I started to make some money. And then closer to 9 months in, from the 6 months to the 9 months, I started making a lot more. So it was like, so this is kind of the timeline. It was like, 1 month, 2 month, 3, 4, 5, a little bit, and then 6, pretty big spike. And then from 6 to 9, it was like, it went up kind of a lot, like
Wow.
relative to what I was making before. Right. So at that point, I was like, okay, we're going all in with this. If I can make it work while I'm working 50 hours a week, I know I can make it work. Um, full time doing this. Right. So that was
Yeah.
kind of my timeline. I think the biggest part of it was just really doing the boring work and getting up early and making a video every day. Like that was like the number one thing that I would say is just really being consistent with that boring process. Right. And, yeah,
Right.
man.
So at that 6 month point, what changed to then zoom up that trajectory to the 9th month point where you had this momentum and you had this exponential growth?
Yeah.
What changed?
Yeah. So, I mean, from so I was making a YouTube video every day. So I was focusing on YouTube. I was still doing like TikTok and Instagram and all those other things, but YouTube was always my main focus. It still is till today. But the reason I love YouTube is because it does compound, right? So if you build your channel in the right way, so like building, essentially creating content that can be seen, 6 months down the road. That's how I kind of initially built that YouTube foundation. So I was, the videos that I had made like 6 months ago were starting to get found and recommended on YouTube. Now,
Yeah.
part of that strategy was, creating content that people wanted to watch later. Like I still have people watching my videos from 5 years ago because it's relevant to what they're searching, right? If people go to YouTube and type in a certain keyword, sometimes my video pops up, maybe it's from 5 years ago or whatever. So, and that's why I love YouTube, right? I love things that stack on each other. There's things like Instagram and Facebook, which I love, by the way, but you only get like a big bump in views like the first day, maybe 2 days. Another thing that I did, Paul, that was one of my hacks as well, was like I would use the bump in views like on, like TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, but I would flood them to my YouTube channel, right? So basically I built like I want to say like a YouTube engine, right? So essentially I was doing all the things that I needed for YouTube to be naturally recommended by YouTube itself. But then I was using all these other platforms as distribution, right? So I'll give you an example. This is actually one I did the other day. So there's a video I made the other day on like there's this AI video, like, hey, this is the 5 best ways to use Claude, which is an AI tool. Now, I made the YouTube video, 15-minute video, whatever. But then I made a short form video on like Instagram and TikTok. I was like, like 20, 30-second video, same hook, same everything. I'm like, do you want to see the full video? Go to my YouTube channel, right? Boom, distribution. Same thing with my Facebook. I'll make a post, like a text post, like, hey, five ways to use Claude. That's unfair, right? And then I'll point people to the YouTube video. So that what that does is if you build the video the right way, it'll get found, 3, 4, 5, 6 months later naturally. But if you're using all your other socials for distribution, you're able to give that boost. And then YouTube's like, oh, I need to really boost this like right now, right? So I still do that till today. I mean, you probably follow my stuff on Facebook every once in a while.
Yeah.
But you'll notice a lot of my call to actions, I'm just trying to get people to my YouTube video, right? I'm always just trying to build the brand, the personal brand, because I know if people watch my content, a lot of people will resonate with my story. They'll follow, they'll subscribe, they'll follow on other platforms. They'll build it, they'll join my email list, all that good stuff, right? So, yeah, that's what I did 6 years ago, and I still do that till today, man. Same thing, just on a higher level.
Wow. So for a lot of people, when they talk about building a platform, they talk about building a website. And it sounds like instead of simply building a website as your platform that you direct everybody to, you're using YouTube as your platform that you're sending everybody back to. I think that's pretty big head smack for somebody because they might not have thought about it that way, because they're thinking, I need to build a website. And then I also have all these other stuff that I do, YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. Yeah. Whereas your strategy, it sounds like, has been that your main direction that you're pointing everybody to is not a website, but YouTube instead. And I think that's a pretty interesting concept that maybe somebody hasn't thought about, is that YouTube is the platform that you're sending people to, and all these other channels are simply funnels towards YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, and basically, if you visualize it, so I have like YouTube as like the main hub, right? Picture YouTube here, and then everything else is like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, all goes to YouTube. But then from YouTube, that's when I send them to my funnels, to my email list, and then now I'm building my
Right,
list. But
right,
the
right.
reason I like YouTube is because really, it builds a very loyal audience, right? People are able to resonate with my story. I'm able to teach them something. Shorts are great, I think, for like discovery and like kind of viral traffic, if you will. But it doesn't really build that big trust with like YouTube, right? So I'll give you another example. Like I don't get like a ton of views on my YouTube. Sometimes I do, but I'll average like 3 to 7,000 views on YouTube, which is okay.
Yeah,
Um, and then like on Instagram, I can get 100,000 views or whatever, But YouTube, they're like watching 10 minutes of you and they're learning something, whereas the other platforms are just watching a few seconds, right? So
right,
that's
right.
kind of how I see it. It's not all the same. If I want people to watch a YouTube video and then go to my offers because now they're really ready to buy, right? Because
Yeah.
they're what's the word, pre-sold, I guess you can say. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They're interested. They've raised their hand and said,
Yeah.
I'm interested in what you're saying, and then what's next for me." And so I love that. And so the strategy is you've got all these spokes, these Instagram, TikTok, whatever spokes go down to the hub of uh, YouTube, and then from YouTube to close the deal to sell whatever you wanted to sell, it goes to just simply a website that is for the closing and for the sale? Or do your websites serve a different purpose as well? How are they simply just the funnel to close the deal after you've got their attention with YouTube, or do your websites serve a different purpose?
I mean, it depends on the offer. I kind of have different offers now. Cause I sell software, I sell info, courses, stuff like that. But typically, where I'll send them, is like a funnel, right? So, but I have a lot of different funnels, and we could get into that if you want. But I mean, for example, one of my funnels is like a low ticket, so it's like $47 on the front end, and then on the back end of that, there's like maybe like a $2,000 coaching program or something like that. But from YouTube, I'll send them to like a $47 product. That's one like funnel. Another one is like a webinar funnel, right? So from YouTube, I'm like, hey, by the way, I have this 90-minute presentation that's going to teach you XYZ. Then I send them to a funnel that that sends them to a webinar, right? And then of course I have my just straight call, like I'll send them to like my software homepage where they'll buy like my software. So kind of I have a variety of funnels that I'll send people to depending on the video. But those are kind of the main ones.
Wow, wow. And hopefully that has helped somebody to look at how they're even creating their architecture of their business. Because for a lot of people, they've been just it's the website, it's the website, it's the website.
Yeah.
But YouTube is such a powerful platform for building this attention and also putting your brand out there, creating a personal brand. And the great thing about it is, like you said, there's people still finding your 5-year-old videos,
Yeah.
and that's getting their attention. And so it's also got a lifespan beyond just one simple ad or one simple thing that gets attention. It's always there, and it's going to be there for a long time. And so it's amazing how that's worked for you. So that strategy, is that your primary strategy right now for getting customers?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do that. I do that till this day. I've recently started using Facebook a ton. Facebook is at least a time like right now. I'm getting a ton of reach. So, I want to use that to grow the YouTube channel, right? So, sometimes I'll push people to my funnels directly on Facebook, but again, most of the time I'm using the Facebook reach to just send them to my YouTube channel. So that's working really well right now. I will say as well, um, but back in 2021, the whole pandemic thing happened. And basically that's when TikTok really was like a huge thing, which was I was one of the first movers to really get on TikTok for business. And I was, I had built the following to like 400,000 followers. But again, I was making a TikTok video and then sending them to YouTube. The reason why I say that is because some of these platforms they'll give you more discoverability and traffic, and they'll have like their time, right? So there's a time where Instagram gave you more views than other platforms. There was a time TikTok did. There was a time, X or Twitter did. So there's these weird cycles where these new platforms try to like really push your content. So right now, Facebook is making a comeback, and I'm really pushing it hard. Like we're posting 10, 15 times a day on a personal Facebook, and just getting people to all our products and stuff like that. So, personal brand, YouTube.
Now, Facebook does like to keep views and eyeballs on their platform. How are you facing any kind of resistance from them sending people off the platform to things like YouTube and other channels?
Yeah, there's a way to do it. So if you go look at my channel or my Facebook account, you'll notice what I do is I'll create like a post, if you've ever been on Facebook, you'll see like the colored background. It has like the red or black, simple post, like super easy. It'll be like, hey, here are, like I said, that example, here are 5 ways to use Claude for your business. And then you have a little arrow pointing down. What you do then is, if I say there's 5 ways, I'll have 5 comments. So I'll give some value. Comment number 1, comment number 2, and all the way to 5. And then the last comment, I'm like, hey, by the way, if you want to see the full video on me explaining the process, go check out this video. But that's in the comments, right? So, a lot of people do wrong is they'll put the YouTube channel or YouTube on the actual post. And yeah, Facebook will definitely throttle that because they don't want people to leave the platform. But the reason why I call it the comment ladder posts. The reason why those work so well is because if you have a really good like hook and headline, and people are now in the comments, they're reading it, right? So Facebook's like, oh, this is a good post. People are actually reading.
Right.
So then they're going to push that out. That has been insane. Like I'm getting millions of views this way. I even spoke on stage for Russell Brunson about like that strategy. And I even built the software around that whole threads model, right? So I'm not sure how long it's going to last, but it's been working great for the last year and a half. And we're just pushing it hard. I just built a brand new page from scratch on Facebook. This was a business page, not my personal. And now we're posting like 20, 30 times a day. And that one's brand new. So we're trying to kind of really push the limit there. But yeah, so that's what we're doing.
That's awesome. So what's for the threaded comments thing? You said you built a software. Where can people find out about that?
Yeah. So basically it's called freedomthreads.ai. And essentially what it does is it takes that framework that I just mentioned and just does it for you. And we even built like a Chrome extension where it plugs into Facebook, and it like it'll add it it'll add the post for you and then the comments below it. But yeah, man, Freedom Threads is basically something I built for myself because I was like, I need a way to do this in volume, right? So I built it for myself, and then naturally people wanted it. So yeah, it's something we sell now. We have thousands of members using it. And we're always adding like new stuff to it. For example, like it helps with short form videos and it creates images for you and a bunch of really cool things that we do now. But yeah, it's been fun, man. Trying to be more efficient with our time, right? So
right. Well, posting 5 different comments or 10 different comments after a post is time consuming. It's awesome that you've created a solution for that for yourself that then became something that you also made available. So it sounds like primarily from zero or broke to doing well was primarily affiliate marketing, right? That was the biggest thing. And so now you've talked about AI, and I want to talk about that and what you're doing with AI. You're doing amazing things with AI at the conference we're at. You spoke on what you're doing with AI briefly on there as well. So tell me about that transition. Are you still doing affiliates, or have you transitioned totally to AI? What's the new version of Jonathan look like?
Yeah, dude, that's such a great question. It's funny. I've only been doing, this whole this whole business stuff for, only 6 years. And it's just crazy. I've seen a lot of my mentors like just evolve over time, right? Just they're maybe not doing the same things. I don't know. I've seen that a lot. And I started like trying to like figure that out for myself. I'm like, what do I want to do like long term? Right. Um, so I really started getting into AI because part of it was like, okay, I need to figure out like what my new identity is. And another thing is like the thing that got me to where I am was just learning new skills, right? So, um, to answer your question, yes, I still teach affiliate marketing. I do it heavily every day. I affiliate a bunch of products, softwares, courses. There's a big launch coming up soon, so I'm really going like all in with that. So I still do it very heavily. I still teach it heavily. But part of like learning, or part of like how I got to where I am today, is just learning the new skills. And obviously everything's kind of evolving to AI, and I'm like, I want to learn, right? So part of my personal brand now is like I'm teaching AI, right? What now we can use these skills in marketing, in affiliate marketing, and creating content, and building funnels. So essentially it's just another branch of what I've already taught. It's not like I'm teaching like, hey, this is how you build a restaurant, right? It's not something totally different.
Right.
So that's how I see it. A lot of my students have been loving the content, and it's crazy because we evolve as like creators and entrepreneurs, but so does your audience, right? If you're doing the right things, if you're teaching your students correctly, which is crazy. We've had over 65,000 people buy our programs, and something, we've served 65,000 people. So a lot of those people have gone on to make millions, right? One of my students, Camila Markson, she's made, I think close to maybe 10 million at this point. Daniel Chow, Nathan Bakers, like they're all 7-figure business owners now.
Yeah, I've had them on my podcast.
Evolved.
Yeah.
What was that?
I've had them on my podcast. Yeah, they're amazing.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just crazy because if we're doing things right and teaching our students, then they evolve as well. So anyways, getting back to your question. Yes. So we're definitely going heavily in AI, but just really just adding it as a branch to what I've already taught. I'll give you another example. So there's a big, affiliate launch coming up. Again, I'm still doing affiliate marketing, but now we can use AI to kind of help build lead magnets, build funnels quicker, get traffic quicker, right? So it's the same thing we're doing, just just doing it quicker and more efficient. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, well, and it also prompted another question for me: is when did AI first blow your mind?
Blow my mind. Definitely not when it first came out. It was pretty horrible. I remember messing with ChatGPT, and I was like, this is just not good. I think it was in October of 2025. So not that long ago, but that's when I figured out that AI can actually create software. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. So this was at an AI conference I was at, which I'm speaking at this year, by the way, which I'm pretty excited about.
That's awesome.
But anyway, so that conference, I was like, oh my gosh, this is very powerful because to be honest, I've always actually wanted to create software like back in 2019, but I didn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I figured out I can build software with $100, $200, right? So my first software that I built was Freedom Threads. And then, we got that to over 1,000 members monthly reoccurring. And, it's crazy because I built it in probably like a month, and I got it to market in like a month and a half. So pretty quick, right?
Wow.
Now, obviously, we're always refining it and stuff like that, but we got it to market quickly, right? And that was just mind blowing, man. I was just like, this is crazy. So naturally, we started. We built a software just I think in April of 2026, I'm sorry, February of 2026, called Maker AI, which actually just helps people build software and gives them all the frameworks that we use. But anyway, so that's what we're doing now, is like really just helping people build software and using all the marketing knowledge that I've taught people from before. How do we get traffic? How do we build pages? And how do we build a system to get customers and sales? But yeah, that was like the craziest thing, and it still blows my mind. I think I've built dozens of softwares now in just the past 8-9 months. 4 of them are over 1,000 members, and the other ones are just like kind of just me having fun, man. It's just like a video game to me. I love building. So
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, for me with AI, it was a similar experience to when I first held an iPad and found myself playing with an iPad. I'd had an iPhone, of course, but I got an iPad and I was playing around with it. And like a few hours later, I'm like, wait a second, I've been doing all this stuff with just my fingers. And for me, it was like one of those boom, like, head smack moments of I didn't touch a keyboard. I didn't touch a mouse. This is a new way to do things that I've never experienced before.
yeah,
And I hadn't had that experience until AI. And for me, AI is not that old. Like it's only been a couple of years, and
3
that's
years.
what is mind blowing, right? And so for me, it was the same thing with AI, where I knew what I told it. And then when I saw what it gave me back, I was like, whoa, that's mind blowing. Because
Yeah.
I didn't have to give it all these other things that I would normally have to give a person or something else. I only gave it very little, and it gave me back this amazing kind of stuff. And so it sounds like the same kind of thing happened for you with, building the software. Is, you were talking to it, you were telling it to do stuff, and what it gave back was exponentially
Yeah.
greater than if you had to hand code it and hand type it all out and whatever, right? And so what was, talk me through that experience. What was the toolbox that you used for that? And talk me through that a little bit for somebody that might be like, okay, that sounds interesting. You've piqued my interest in this software stuff. What was that experience like before you built Maker AI? What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I've definitely evolved from like the first Freedom Threads I created, but I can walk you through that process. So, one note before I go into it, I do feel like I did have, quote unquote, an unfair advantage because of all the marketing knowledge that I had, right? So, I do want to mention that, because I was like, I've taken 3 companies to over 7 figures. This new company, Maker AI, we're getting close to that. So I think we could do it by the end of the year. But I do the same thing for every business. And I just want to kind of mention that as well, because a lot of the things we do is like, building webinars, building low ticket funnels, and be able to run ads to these things, getting affiliates to promote. So those are all the things that have helped build all my businesses. So we could go more into that in a little bit later, but to answer your question, so the first stack that I used to build Freedom Threads was Manus. At the time I was like, hey, this is how I post my Facebook, the comment ladder, and I just talk back and forth with it. No, this sucks. We need to do this, back and forth. So we built the initial MVP, right? For, basically something that we can use and start selling with Manus. Now, eventually I moved that to Claude Code, which I believe is just superior to any other coding right now, any other like AI coder. It is a kind of technical, so I don't recommend it for everyone, but now that's what I use to like completely code everything on Freedom Threads. Even like before we got on this podcast, I was like, hey, I need to change this, and this. Boom, it changes it in just like a few minutes, right? So,
wow,
that's kind of the stack with Freedom Threads. Maker AI, which is the big one that I have a partner on that with. Do you know Stefan Ciancio?
no, I don't.
He's the owner of Webinar Kit. Are you familiar with that one?
Okay, yeah.
Anyways, that one has like 20, 30,000 users. He's massive in that. He doesn't have a big personal brand, which I'm trying to help him with. But anyway, so we're partnered on Maker AI, and we built that with Lovable, which is like a wrapper like it's almost like a super easy way to use Claude Code, because essentially Lovable uses Claude Code. Getting kind of technical here, but Lovable,
that's
if you
good.
want to build a app, is probably one of the easiest ways. I would say 99% of people should use Lovable. And we built all of Maker AI using Lovable. And that one's just taking off. So, but yeah.
Yeah. So walk me through Maker AI. What is it? What does it do? What won't it do? And who's it for?
Yeah. So, okay. So what we realized is like, okay, people can now build software very easily. So that's not the bottleneck now. The bottleneck is now, how do I get sales, right? So again, like I mentioned, the unfair advantage for me was I know how to get sales. I know how to run ads. I know how to create content because I've done it with all my companies, right? So what Maker AI is there's a lot of things that it does, but the main thing is it helps with the marketing aspects. So I'll kind of walk you through it. So there's like 4 steps that it essentially helps you do. First step is it gives you a really good idea on what type of software should I build. Okay, does the research for you. It's really good. And then second thing it does is it validates that idea. What are the keywords? Who are the competitors? Like it goes extreme, like who are all the YouTube people that we need to go reach out to, right? It does all these things.
Wow.
Now, step 3 is it gives you all the build, copy and paste build prompts to paste into Lovable. So it's like, okay, here's the idea. Let's build it. And it gives you all the copy and paste. You copy that into Lovable. You build your software in like a day. Okay. Step 4, this is, I think, the most important, right? Is getting traffic, getting customers. So it's essentially, it helps with organic traffic. So it creates images for you. It creates your Facebook posts. It creates your Instagram reels, your YouTube videos. And then it also helps with ads. It shows you how to run the ads. It creates the ads for you. And then there's another thing that it does. We built a marketplace. So people that build within Maker AI can put their software on our marketplace, and then we get traffic for our people. So yeah, man, it's been good. So essentially it's like taking my brain and Stefan's brain. He's like the ads guru. He built his whole like webinar kit just using ads, and then taking my organic brain and how I built my businesses and just putting it all into Maker AI. So
Wow.
it's quite an operation, man. People love it. And again, it's just stacking on what I've already learned over the past 6 years, right? And it's taking my unfair advantage and giving it to them.
Yeah, yeah. Now, with as we've talked about, we're kind of in the early stages of AI. How do you make something that builds software future-proof? How do you see there, as things change, as things evolve? We have AI businesses pop up and close down. AI, learning models open up and close down.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Is it going to be a challenge to future-proof these, or do you feel that there's something else that people don't understand?
That's a great question, man. I love it. And so what I would say, and I get this a lot with a lot of our, customers that are using our software. And I'm like, look, the biggest difference that, yeah, possibly. Okay. So it could possibly, like, someone could copy your software easily, but what they can't copy is they can't copy your personal brand, your results. Right. So that's why I always tell people, like, I'm always telling my customers, I'm like, guys, you need to be building a personal brand. You need to build some sort of community. So everything I've built, like, I always start with that, right? I have some sort of community element, right? People love community. With AI, we're kind of like alone, right? We're talking to this weird robot. Like it is kind of weird, right? So as humans, we crave that community aspect, right? So part of our offer is like, hey, you're also going to get access to this community where you can talk to me, you can talk to Stefan, you can talk to all the other thousands of builders. So that's a big part of it, right? Another one is adding some sort of coaching element, right? So we get on every few weeks and we coach our students. They can interact with us, right? Again, just and that's what sets us apart, right? So anyone that I talk to, it's like, how do I stand out, right? If we have two of the same softwares, how can I stand out? And it's really like, hey, you need to really build some sort of system that people can interact with yourself, can interact with other people. And that's all built in our offer, and people love it. And I'm not worried if someone were to copy my software, because we have that foundation of community and all the things we've built. So, yeah.
Well, and when it comes to the software, though, the future proofing that I'm alluding to is, what if technology changes? Will the software stop working? Do you feel that there's things in place that will avoid that? Like, how do you see the future of software built on today's technology?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of having a software business, especially building with AI, is making changes. Well, we try to do it daily, but at least once a week, right? So, a part of like when we build software is like we have like a future request. So if someone wants something different, we'll build that in. But always staying ahead of the curve and in building what your people want. That's like one of our main things and main visions with our softwares is like we're building. We try to build every day. So like part of what I'm doing now is I'll hire just people to use AI to code and just add something better, make it more efficient. What's something we're missing, right? And that's the main thing. It's like we're always adding things to our software, because I'm sure there's people that will like build a software, they'll go to sell it, and they'll never touch it again. So that's the worst thing you could do. But that's with any product at all, right? I mean, if you have a restaurant or coaching business or whatever, like you should always be developing your product. You should always be trying to figure out what's going to happen next, right? So, I really don't see software going away. Yes, AIs get better. I think that's all just the tools that is going to help your business, right? Whether it's software or any other business that you have.
Yeah. So I haven't built a software yet. I hope to do it once I get the idea. I don't have any ideas right now, or maybe I do, but I just haven't articulated them. And so does building through vibe coding or whatever the language is, building software, is it like a subscription model like for Adobe products where you pay for a subscription, they have an update, they push the update to you? And so the software that you're creating, is it the same way where you still kind of have control of the engine and people just basically subscribe to what you've built? And so when you make changes, it changes their software as well, the one that they purchase from you. Is that how it works? Or help me understand that a little better.
Yeah, that's a really great question. So so there's two ways to do it, right? There's the first way where it's like more technical, where you're using Claude code and then doing it. So the way that works, and trying to make it as simple as possible, is like I literally have like my Claude code, like right now I'm looking at it. That's connected to the code base, which is GitHub, and then you have your own like a database where all the data is stored. But basically the way I code the hard way is like I tell Claude Code, hey, we need to make this change. Boom. It sends a message to GitHub, changes the code, and then there's a change. That's a very inexpensive way to do it. Like extremely inexpensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a little bit more technical, right? If you learn it, then great. Lovable is a subscription base. So, depending on how many credits you use. So like the more difficult the software you're building, the more AI credits you can use. And, you might be spending a lot more with Lovable. However, the nice thing about Lovable is everything's handled: the database, the hosting, the sign-in fee, like when people sign up, like all that weird stuff that people don't want to deal with, that's all handled by Lovable. Only difference is you're paying a little bit of a premium, right? You're paying Lovable to handle all this weird, crazy stuff on the back end, right? So, like I said, we have one of our softwares on Lovable, but we are paying more for the subscription. I think we pay a couple $100 a month, but that's a huge operation, right? So, which is still not that bad, right? To give you some context, I mean, I think we built Maker AI originally for maybe like $600, which is nothing, for
Wow.
what we've built,
Yeah.
but yeah, you do have to pay the monthly fee to keep up the database and stuff like that. But yeah, if you want to go really efficient, just do your own Claude code, get your own GitHub account, and you're paying maybe $50 a month. Maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think for some people that might not understand this fully, that's very helpful to understand because it used to be when you bought a software, you got it all on a floppy disk or you got it on a CD, and that software resided on your computer, and it was kind of like hard product on your computer. Whereas now it's a subscription-based model where I use Adobe products, and so I pay Adobe a monthly fee. They rent me the software, I use it. If they update stuff, I just hit update, it updates my software. And so that's the way that AI does this software is how I'm understanding it is when you create a software product for somebody, you don't send them a package that's this set in stone finished product. They actually subscribe to something. And so if there's an update, you update it on your side. And if they purchase the product, they get the update. Right. Am I understanding? Did I summarize it right?
That's typically how it works. Now, what's cool is, if you want to make an update and, let's just say you already have a user base, you just go to Lovable and say, hey, I want to change this. Push the update. If you like the update, you hit publish and then everyone sees it. Really no issues.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple, man. It's crazy how, just how fast it is. Like my daughter built like her own kind of software. My wife is working on one now.
Wow.
In like a whole different industry. I've built a bunch. I just built one 2 days ago for basically I built it as like a lead magnet to one of the affiliate things that I'm doing. So again, I'm just using all the things I've like learned and just using AI, right? So like before I taught my students, if you're promoting an affiliate product, you should give something away for free as a bonus. Well, now it's like, okay, let's create a software and give that away for free, right? So just all the things I've learned, I just keep stacking on each other. But yeah, dude, the AI thing is pretty cool with the software, and just so much you can do with it.
Yeah, you just said something there as an aside, which I think is a pretty powerful marketing lesson as well is, in a world where, when you're selling affiliate products, you're also competing with everybody else selling the exact same affiliate product.
Yeah.
And you just said something there that makes you stand out is you stack on top of somebody else's affiliate products something of value that makes you set apart from everybody else, right? And that's a strategy that you've been using for a while, or is that a new strategy?
Oh yeah, that's one of my main strategies that helped me be where I am today is building a bonus, right? Last year in 2025, I promoted 3 of the biggest launches in the entire world. You're familiar with Alex Hermosi's $105 million launch?
Yeah.
I was number 10 in the world at promoting that.
Wow.
Because I had built a bonus. So I'm like, hey guys, if you buy this book, you also get all my stuff, right? So you get this, this, and this that I had built. A month after that, it was Russell Brunson's Offer Lab. And I was number 1 in the world at bringing in leads and number 3 at sales.
Wow.
Same thing, same playbook, man. It's just like, it's so simple now that I think about like doing the next launch, but just building a really strong bonus. And then I had another launch like 2 weeks after that. These were like back to back, which was insane. I won a free car, $10,000 worth of stock, and then all the commissions I made on top of that. Onyx Singal, he had a big event, AI event, and I won that one. And then now there's one that's even bigger than all of these that's coming up, and I'm working on my bonuses. Like I'm building software, I'm building like free courses, free PDFs, like all the things that just want to give away when people buy through my link. So yeah, that's always been huge for me. Like for any affiliate offer is building a bonus.
Yeah, man, that's amazing. And I can't believe how quickly this conversation has gone. So you went from broke to multimillionaire. What's a question that you wish I'd asked you, or a Headsmack that you'd like to share as we wrap this up?
Man, there's so much that like I'd like to talk about, because like I feel like one of the main things is like, what were the hard points in the business, right? Because I've had a lot of things in just the last 6 years, and I think a lot of people don't talk about those things, right? Because business does go like this; it goes up and down, and those times where I wanted to quit, just recently, because just things happen, man. Like, and whether it's life or business or people, I've had some really, really hard moments, so maybe I think that's one of the things I would say, like, just so people know, like, hey, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Like, things are going to happen, So.
Yeah. Well, I wish we had more time, because I'd like to hear about all those things, because they're a part of your story, and they're part of, I think, everybody's story at some point. And so I guess we'll have to do a part 2 at some point later, and go through some of those as well. But if somebody wants to learn more about you, if they want to connect with you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, I mean, best place to like just consume my content would be YouTube. Just go to YouTube and type in Jonathan Montoya. But if you want to like kind of see my day-to-day, just more raw, Instagram would be Jonathan Montoya _24. Or you can find me on Facebook. Just search Jonathan Montoya. I'm pretty active on those. But yeah, man, thank you, Paul, so much for having me.
Now, this has been amazing, and I'll put all those links in the show notes as well. And Jonathan, I appreciate you coming on and sharing a bit of your story, and the exciting things that are going on, both in the affiliate world as well as the creating software and software products. And we'll have to do a part 2 to this. I've loved the conversation, man. And this has been amazing. And you have a wonderful day. And thank you again for being on.
Thank you so much, man. Have a good day.
You are listening to Conversations with Misfits, Mavericks, and Trailblazers.